There's 5 heartwarming stories about animals. All right, let's get to it. Well, the first one has to do with crows. You see, there's this little girl named Gabby. She was from Seattle, Washington, and one day she dropped a chicken nugget on the ground and a crow swooped down and ate it. And Gabby's kind of clumsy, so another day she accidentally drops a piece of bread on the ground and the crow swoops down and eats it. And Gabby loves this. So when Gabby goes to school, she gives some of her lunch to the crows every day. And her mom catches wind of this, figures out, that Gabby's giving her food to the crows. And the mom says, all right, you can't do that anymore, but we'll get the crows their own food. So the mom buys the crows peanuts and dog food, and each day they go back in their backyard and they have a bird feeder there. Not a bird feeder, but a bird bath and a little place that they put the peanuts and everything. And the crows just love it. They come and eat every day. At least they come and eat all the time. And eventually one time, Gabby goes back there and she finds this little shiny earring, and Gabby's just convinced that the crows have brought her this earring, and the mom's not fully, convinced of this. So over time, more things appear, like a hinge and a marble, so the mom decides to get a camera to look out back, and lo and behold, the crows are actually returning little gifts because of, the peanuts and the food that they get. That's not the craziest part, though. The craziest part is about a year later, Gabby's mom, she's an amateur photographer, and there's a bald eagle in the area, so she's going to try to capture this eagle on camera. And she drives out of town, and she's so caught up in capturing this eagle on a camera that her lens cap of her camera drops on the ground. And she gets back home and is sitting out back and notices something out where they feed the birds. And she goes and looks at her camera footage, and she finds that a crow has came back with her lens cap, washed it off, and set it on the side very gently, and made sure it didn't drop, and then flew away. So these crows, one of them followed Gabby out of town, not Gabby, but Gabby's mother out of town, found the lens cap, saw that she dropped it, went down there, swooped it, picked it up, and returned it back to him. Yeah. So the crows have pretty much just took them on as their own little family. And that's a little heartwarming story about Gabby and the crows. Number 2, Angela was a food writer in Atlanta. So she wrote about restaurants and things like that. But this was during the pandemic. So she didn't have a lot of work to do. So she was having a rough time. So what she decided to do was set up her own restaurant. But her own restaurant had one client that was a chipmunk. She would cook little tiny meals, like little tortillas and little everything, and feed it to this chipmunk. And the chipmunk would come there every time Angela fed a meal, and it would just gobble up that meal, get a big old cheekful for later, and run away. Yes. And one day the chipmunk even brought back a little thing of leaves. So Angela said, that was her tip for feeding the chipmunk. But there you go. Angela feeding the chipmunk. That's number 2. Number 3. You see, there was this dog in Colorado. His name was Dexter. And Dexter, when he was a little puppy, he had a rough time. He ran out into the road and got hit by a car. Ended up losing one of his front legs, and his other front leg was badly damaged. It was a bum leg. So he ended up having to be in a wheelchair for a while, and it just wasn't going well. But anyways, one day his owner is on the front porch with Dexter, and Dexter's at the bottom of the porch, and his owner goes inside. And she comes back outside and sees that Dexter's up at the top of the porch. She wonders how's he get up the top of the porch, because he's got a bum leg. He can't get up those stairs. So she puts him back at the bottom of the stairs, opens up her phone and records it, and tries to see how Dexter got up the stairs. And Dexter gets on his back legs like a human and just walks right up the stairs. Yeah. And that's what Dexter does. Dexter's a dog with 2 bum front legs, but he doesn't let it stop him. He walks up and walks like a human. He goes around places like a human, and he just keeps persevering no matter what. There's number 3, Dexter the dog. Number 4, there was this guy named Chris. He was a 19-year-old who lived in Minneapolis, and he would wash cars for a Subaru dealership. And one time these cops are driving by, and they see this kid, Chris. He's out, and he's giving CPR to something on the side of the road, and the cops just can't believe their eyes what's happening. And lo and behold, Chris is giving a squirrel CPR. And he's giving the CPR, so the squirrel, and giving the squirrel CPR, and the squirrel's just not coming back. So he decides to give up, and they call it, and the poor squirrel's dead. And about a minute later, that squirrel pops up and flies off. And he lived. It's absolutely crazy. And Chris says, a life's a life, no matter what, even if it's an animal. And Chris eventually wants to go into the medical field, so that'd be perfect for him. But that's the heartwarming story of how Chris literally gave CPR to a squirrel and probably helped save his life. That's number 4. And number 5 is about Blossom the goose. You see, Blossom the goose used to have a husband, and her husband passed away. And they used to live near a funeral home. And Blossom the goose was just very, very sad. She would go look at her reflection in the window or on gravestones or things like that because she just wanted some form of company. So one of the people that worked at the funeral home decided she had this crazy idea. She put Blossom the goose out there on the internet, and she made up this funny story about how, Blossom the goose was this great goose just looking for a partner and how she loved all sorts of shenanigans. So she pretty much put Blossom the goose out on a dating website looking for a male goose. And lo and behold, there were 2 people who had a goose that was a bachelor, and they decided to, set him up with Blossom. So Blossom the goose meets Gary the goose, and they just hit it off. And they go spend time together, and Blossom the goose and Gary the goose are now pretty much inseparable. So that's the story of how Blossom the goose lost her husband, was sad as all get out, and then someone decided to put Blossom the goose on a dating website, and she found a new mate. Hello from the future. The male goose's name is Frankie. It's Blossom and Frankie, not Blossom and Gary. My bad. Crazy stuff. This has been 5 fun stories that are heartwarming about animals. Now, if you want to know more fun stuff like this, go ahead and check the link below. And remember, just like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It helps so much. Thank you for all your support. And remember, this is according to my research. Maybe perfect. If it isn't, let me know in the comments below. It's been Stories on the Spectrum. Like, subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell.